Well, hello once again, folks. Self-Care Sunday. We missed you last week, but we are here now. What we're doing basically, you guys are know of Rachel's road to recovery, and she is battling strong throughout each and every day. And we are just doing an update with her and talking about sleep because self-care is sleep is a part of self-caring. If you're not getting your Z's, folks, you're missing out. You're probably burning out. And without any further ado, I want to go ahead and introduce my lovely wife, one and only Miss Rachel Farouk. Hello, Rachel.
Hello, lovely husband.
I got to tell you, I love this new background, and it goes with your headset. It's pieced together strategically. How are you doing?
You know what? I am thinking about self-caring. It's been on my mind this year, I tell you, because I've seen what it does to you and how you've been burnt out, and then it actually happened to me too, and it is no bueno. Burnout is no bueno. So we're working on our self-care habits. That's my mantra for this year. Is I do not, and I'll be honest, I do not self-care proper. And that's not an eating disorder thing. That's a historical thing.
Yeah.
That I have not done that well in my life. But
And
there have been reasons.
I'm gonna cut the music here so we could talk. And so is it been ever since you were a child? Like ever since you
Yeah.
can ever remember, right?
Oh yeah. To be honest, I hated bathing, and I kind of still do. So when my sister, who's older than I am, she would literally grab me and force me into the shower, and I would fight her left and right. I just didn't like it.
Yeah, you're
And
stinky. Go wash yourself.
what is it? But it's funny is right, because I'm my condition currently, my physical state right now, I don't smell because I don't produce enough oil right now to do that. So I have to rely on my For You Naturally products that I absolutely love. And people were asking me, what are you doing with that product? I'm like, I just love it. It's a lot of colors and it smells amazing. And so it's not about just like, oh, this is the product. It's just one way that I've learned to self-care that I'm trying to
But
work
it's
on.
but it's not replacing actual showering, right?
No, even though
It's not supposed
I
to anyhow, right?
even though I have a little bit been a bit disheveled lately, as you can tell
But
by my hair.
but you did shower today, so we're all good, right?
Yes, yes, that was my self-care Sunday today. I was able to bathe. That
Very
was bonus. That was a bonus for sure. And just so you know, caregivers, very important to self-care, right?
yes, yes. And I've been there with a burning out, and to be honest with you, January, I wish we could just start the first of the year here in February, and I'll be doing better like here on out. But it hasn't been in my well, I mean, here and there, I do self care, but it's just been a struggle this month, as with medically with yourself, and you're in my heart, and so I feel your pain, sort of thing. But we are getting more support, and this go ahead and just kick it off because I think the main reason why we're here is to hear about yourself and seeing how your recovery is coming along, and keep us posted on what's new in your world, there, Rachel.
See, it's so funny, like making it about me. It's makes me uncomfortable, but at the same
Well,
time,
it's
I know that it's necessary to because people care about me, and I would want to know because I love them. I want to know if they're hurting or if they're getting better or if they're just maintaining with no judgment. No judgment. This is a no judgment zone,
I
and
think
we're
the
not
hardest
here.
part that you have, sorry to interrupt you. I think the hardest part that you have though is you give everything that's in your cup, and you're having a hard time feeling your own cup, right?
Yes, it's a part of my nature, unfortunately, and I'm not playing the martyr or asking for any sympathy because this is me doing just Rachel. This is just Rachel. I would rather, attend to people, and but than rather attend to myself. But that's not just an eating disorder thing. I've kind of always been this way.
Yeah. And before
But
you get into your recover, your update, folks at home watching this in your living room, if you have any comments, go ahead and comment below, and we'll put it on screen and answer as many questions as we can towards the end. Okay. So, yeah, go ahead, Rachel. I didn't mean to interrupt, but go ahead and what is going on with your recovery? What's the word?
I like how you say don't interrupt because I interrupt all the time and I don't mean to.
That's all
What
right.
it is I'll give it some really interesting updates. Well, I think they're interesting because I love how the brain works. I love figuring it out. So I've really just immersed myself in learning because that's a way I self-care is learning. That's a form of self-care for me. People will ask me what you do for fun. I'm like, study and learn. I know that might not be fun to most people, but I like it. You know, it's imagine being in a coma for so long and you're awake and you're processing things and you're like, "Oh my gosh, look at all around me. It's amazing." You know, those things kind of go through my head because I'm just, woke about my own experience and I'm more present. See, unfortunately, my body does not look the way that my brain wants it to look. And that's just how I'm wired for right now. And let me explain what I mean. I found out recently, I do know I have ADHD, with a combination. I'm hyperactive. The thing was, is I did not see doctors growing up. I didn't see therapists. There was no internet then. So my family didn't even know of any of these things. And we were very, low income too. So we didn't have back then it would be viewed as luxuries of seeing a doctor. We didn't have that at that time. I know that sounds weird, but we didn't. So as an adult, I was only, when I first entered the world of medical, and therapy, I came presenting myself as anorexic, you know, and because I was very malnourished and I was overdoing it in so many different domains. And that was due to abuse. So before people go bah, 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 and want to lay it all in me, please know that you're dealing with trauma. And this is trauma informed care that we are trying to promote, that we have to honor the individual's experience. We don't want to revisit trauma over and over again. We're trying to move through it. I'm not trying to ignore it. I'm just trying to move through it.
Yeah.
And I've been able to move through a lot of trauma. So the ones that I'm still working on is hospitals because of my own experience with them. Please, 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 if you are in jeopardy or if you need help, please, you're hearing me say, go get help, go get treatment, go to wherever you can. My experience is just different. You don't want to return to the crime scene over and over again when you're trying to move through it. Eventually, I'll be able to, but currently, I need to move through it to get better. So that's where I'm at.
Where are things medically and psychologically?
Medically, this is what let me just lay it all out there. I've done the CT scan, I've done an ultrasound, I've done an X-ray so far, and we've done blood work for bacteria. So right now, I do not have bacteria. I have sludge in my gallbladder that seems to be causing a lot of the problems. And so normally sludge doesn't affect people, right, in the gallbladder, but they're precursors to gallstones. So for me, it's impacted even more because I'm really short in my torso. I know this sounds funny, but people will see me and they've seen me mostly in a, medical bed, like nurses, physicians. And then when they see me get up, they're like, oh my, you're much taller than I thought.
She is
Because
all legs, folks. Yeah.
literally my hip bones, my legs, and where someone who is like 6'4", 6'3", their height is about six. It could be anywhere from 6'2", 6 foot to 6'4". Our legs are the same length. So that will explain quite a bit of how I'm so um, my weight hit such a low point. My torso is very short, very short. So someone who's 5 foot, like when Rod and I sit by each other, even though I'm taller than Rod, when we sit down, I'm like, "Hi, Rod, how you doing?" And we show people, and they're like, "Oh
You
my
kind of put my
goodness."
arm on the over your shoulder right there, huh?
I'm like your little buddy. You know what I mean? Like, here's my little buddy right here. But that's how I'm built, right? So that being said, my distance of organs is very compressed. So that compression, along with the sludge, the gallbladder sludge, and the kidney stones, has been causing a lot of pain. But you'll say, Rachel, you're in such a good mood. Yeah, because I smile through the pain and I try to ignore it. Which brings up the other thing. I need to go see a GI doctor, which is what we're going to be working on this week. And as you know, those things can take time. And unfortunately, Rachel doesn't want to wait. Rachel wants to get the food back in and start getting better. Now, that being said, why did I not self care? Why did I not notice? Why did I ignore the pain, the hunger, the things that I experience? Why is that so hard for Rachel? Well, I just found out recently why it's so hard. It appears to be that I am on the spectrum and that I'm high functioning on the spectrum. And those terms don't really get used much anymore. There's no designation for Asperger's as far as I know in the new DSM. Even though the conditions exist, we're on a spectrum now. We're considered.
And
That's why
if you're like me and if you're hearing the on the spectrum for the first time, uh, can you explain? It means that you're basically a spectrum being autistic. Yeah.
yes, there's autism present, but it depends on. See, people get confused. Well, I'm not like that person, or I don't present myself as compromised. Yeah, I understand that. Nor do I. Nor do I. I don't present myself that way either. I'm more of a high functioning. And I'm like, another thing that was an indicator was my senses. When something smells bad, Rachel reacts weird. I'm like, oh my God. I get all foul and in a bad mood. But if something smells good, it uplifts me. So, like my For You Naturally products, I use them because they set the stage for the
So
day
you have a
for me.
high extreme to sensitivity to
Yes,
your smell and your senses basically too, right?
right.
Lights too,
Lights,
everything
if a
else, right?
light, yes, if a light is wrong or something is off, it literally feels painful to my brain and body. It hurts where I'm like, ah. Or if something tastes weird, I'm like, oh my gosh, it just has such a strong symptom. It's a so strong symptom. The other thing is, and this is where it gets weird, is I don't recognize when I'm hungry. That has nothing to do with an eating disorder, especially except when I'm refeeding hunger. That one's hard to ignore because I'm like a shark with blood in the water. I'm like, I need to eat that. I need everybody's food belongs to me all of a sudden. And I'm like, one time Rod and I were sitting. Do you remember that, Rod? We were sitting in a restaurant and the
That's
food
where my
walked
mind
by.
just went to. You started like grabbing someone's food while you're
I
walking.
I was
You're
at
like,
I
what is?
didn't.
Oh, I go, babe. You
Oh,
can't just grab their food. What are you doing?
I saw a tray go by and I wasn't really like paying
This isn't
attention.
a backyard
And
barbecue. This is an actual restaurant.
I, I accidentally put my hand out and I'm like, oh, retract that hand. What are you doing, Rachel? Oh my gosh, I almost tried to grab someone's food. But it was really funny because that's what refeeding hunger is like. You don't recognize those things. But
Well, yeah.
typically, I do not recognize hunger or even pain. This is why I can get away with so much pain, tolerance. Like, I'll give you an example. Something will pinch my skin on my legs so hard and long. Let's say it's a book, or let's say it's the laptop I use for school. That this company is so kind, they loaned it to me. So I've got to give them props on that. They're such a nice
She's going to
organization that helps
recovery
people.
school, folks. If you didn't get
Yeah,
that.
my recovery school, I call it. They loaned me a laptop. But anyhow, point being, Rachel's going off on an aside here, was the point being is that like it'll be pinching my legs where it's like black and blue. And I don't even notice it until I lift the laptop and I'm like, oh my gosh, Rachel, what did you do? I'm not even aware of the pain signal.
Do you get
And
so
that's a part of that.
locked into what you're doing that's in front of you? Is the reasoning why, or is it just your body feels desensitized, like you're numb to the pain, or
That's
both?
a great question, Rod. It's actually both.
Is it?
Honestly, it's both. That's why it's such a high tolerance because people will go like, "How are you smiling when you have kidney stones and your stomach's killing you and your mouth is ripped apart and all of, you have broken, oh, I have a fracture in my back again. Thank goodness. Thank you for osteoporosis. That's a one thing, by the way, that will not get better. By the way, please let me be your warning sign. You have a chance to turn it around at a certain point. But when you get to a certain age, you lose those chances. Please get help soon if you have some kind of sign. And just so you know, I've been promoting this in my student club. Please stay aware of knowing that you know someone with an eating disorder. I promise you know somebody with an eating disorder. Whether or not you know it, you have a friend who has one. That's how pervasive they are.
Well, it is a very relatable topic, not only for eating disorders, but for being on the spectrum. You had a comment, and I encourage you guys to comment and question below in the comments, and we will get to your questions and comments as soon as we can. We had this from
Hi,
Kelly. Why don't
Kelly.
you
Oh,
read
my
that?
sweet love. Oh, my sweet love. You have PTSD and the spectrum. Oh, God bless you, Kelly. Yes, my love. I do understand that trauma so much, my love, honestly, and especially the PTSD. My goodness. And mine, I'm sure that you can understand. Mine is complex PTSD, which means that it's been pervasive over a long period of time and it keeps revisiting me, unfortunately. But I know that is also that trauma experience is also protected me and made me more aware of my surroundings as well. So one thing trauma informed care will teach you, think of it like veterans, right? When we're counseling, or let's say we're working in a modality to help somebody, and I'm not a counselor. Like let me just do my disclosure. I'm not a counselor. I'm not a therapist. I am just someone who does peer support. That's it. And what that means is there's mutual support. No one's above each other. We're all just trying to get better together.
So
That's all.
how do you feel the potentially beyond the spectrum translates into answers with the eating disorder? I mean,
Oh,
you know
because
what I mean?
that,
So
thank you for that, Rod. Because honestly, that's all they saw when I would present myself. Because by the time I saw a therapist or a psychiatrist, they didn't see anything else other than she's anorexic, and everything was attributed to anorexia. Well, come to find out, it's not. That's why I've had many unsuccessful attempts. My brain and body don't communicate right. So I'm not even aware there's a problem. So now, let me explain it this way. This makes sense to me. Think of neuroplasticity, or even our brains, the way we're all wired. We're all wired a certain way, right? So let's say our wiring's like this. And let me do this because I'm
I can't
very
do that one with wait, hold on.
no, I'm very conscientious of triggers, so that's why you won't see me. You'll see me covered up all the time, and unfortunately, my jacket's too short today. But you'll see. Okay, so I'm wired like this, right? So let's pretend that these are roads, or let's just even say like this.
So your arms are your
No,
brain is your
let's
brain.
just say
Represent
this
your
is
brain.
my. These are my neurotransmitters. This is how they're wired right now.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just say that they're like that. This is my autopilot. Now let's look at them as street lanes. Okay, these are street lanes. So if you look around, there's nothing, there's no other street, right? So my brain's all around this, right? These are my neurotransmitters. So my brain's in a circle. Here's my neurotransmitters. This is how they're wiring. Okay? So you look here, you look there, there's no other lanes, there's no other roads. So what do we have to do? We have to first realize, but there's no other road, right? Be aware there's no other road. Okay, because these are giving me dead ends. So now that I'm aware there's no other road, I can look around and go, well, I need to extract that off the ground in order to plow through there. So let's start first by looking around. So we're going to go here. Okay, now we've identified the problem, right? That we don't have a road. But let's see, now we need tools to build. We need a plan first. Okay, let's get a plan together. Well, I need to,
road, you're saying.
right, to build the road, right? So I need to figure out what's going on. So let's get assessed. Let's look around and identify where we need, what tools we need, okay, and where we need to go. Okay, and we want to go that way. So now we have identified that's where I want to go, that location over there. Okay, now we need the tools to get there. Okay, so here's my cognitive behavioral therapy tool. Here's my recovery school tool. Here's this tool. Here's this tool. Here's this tool. They're all prepping, right? And that road isn't going to get built tomorrow, right? It's going to take a while to build that road. So let's do this. With neuroplasticity, what we do is we learn. We learn to build that road. So we've learning to build that road. We've identified the tools, and we're starting to build. And then over time, it could take years, up to even 3 years easily to do. We're building that road.
So the road is towards a new behavior, for example.
No, a new story. Let's say, or behavior, you could say that too. Let's say Rachel wants to achieve a certain healthy weight number, or let's say maybe it's not a number because everybody's so worried about numbers. Okay, forget about it. Let's not worry about the number. Let's say Rachel wants to get to a point where she's self-reliant and sufficient. Okay, so that's my goal. We have to have a goal first, right, to get to there.
For example, taking showers, but
we need to have a specific goal. We call them SMART goals, and they're an acronym. SMART means specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. So I need those all 5 to make sure they're concrete. So now we have that goal, and that could be Rachel bathing or SeLF-CaRe or something specific. By Friday on February, I will have had 3 showers and blah, 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 2 baths or whatever it is. Like, we're just making up stuff, right now. So we're getting those tools to do that. Or let's do the sleep. Since sleep is a problem, I have insomnia. That's another reason. Because I'm hyperactive and have insomnia, my body's burning all the time because my brain's too active, right? And there's medication out there and things like that can help, yes. And I'm not saying that those aren't have its place, but let's say I'm not using it, medication, and I'm using tools to get there. It's going to take me maybe a bit longer, right? But I'll forge those new pathways. So we've identified Rachel wants to sleep. How is Rachel going to do that? Well, Rachel is going to look for resources. First, I had to identify there was a problem. Now it's time to gather the resources to get there. And then what tools I'll need to implement the plan, right? So I learned, I had no idea. Did you know you've heard of CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy? Did you know there's CBT for insomnia? I had no idea. And there's this awesome, it's called intensive sleep retraining that you can do. Rod, when we're done, could you post that article? And by the way, any article, Rachel's a bit like anal retentive. It has to be medically reviewed, peer-reviewed, facts, scientific studies. I do not go on Healthline for someone's opinion, let's say. Or WebMD for someone's opinion. I want to find the study. Is this accurate? Is it factual? Has it been proven? And I've learned how to vet my sources. So this source has been posted. It's been vetted from my understanding by a PhD, and we'll put that in the comments. But you can retrain your brain through CBT to retrain your brain for insomnia. They also have some newer technique they call ISR, and it's more expensive, let's just say, but they use EEG machines and everything like that that can help the hyperarousal. So I started looking into that, but that's really expensive. But as a resource, because we're here to share. We're here to share resources. Rod will put that in the comments below later
As soon
and
as
work on
we're
our sleep hygiene.
as soon as we follow up with and finish, I'll put that up. We do have once again your questions and comments are encouraged. You have
Please do,
Amanda
or
with
I'll talk.
hello.
Oh, my Amanda. Hi, my sweet love. Oh, my
Yes,
sweet
yes.
Amanda. It's
I think
great to see
we
you.
got a happy Valentine's from
Oh,
Sandra.
Sandra. Hi, Sandra.
Who's
Happy
Sandra?
Valentine's Day to you, lovely. I
And
hope you
apparently,
have a rocking day.
and apparently my mic isn't working very well. Hello.
Oh, my sweet
Maybe
Lisa.
I
My
might have to fix
frontliner.
that.
Boop, boop.
How you doing, Lisa? Thank you for the head up. I'll put it a little closer. I don't know if that's working a little better or not, but we'll figure it out. And then you had a specific question.
Oh, hi, Andy. Oh, I know Andy.
Can
Can
you?
I remember a time when oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember. It
So
started
so
the first
how did it all go down, Rachel? Can you pinpoint?
Andy, it actually, I've been, and I've been very transparent with this. I have been experienced trauma and abuse of all ends, sexual, physical, emotional, psychological, relational, all of that since I was a child. But the eating disorder did not creep up at the normal age that a lot of individuals have, and that's shifted since. The demographics have changed, and they're finding many adults, both genders, any gender can suffer from an eating disorder. But mine personally started at work. Mine started when I landed my first corporate job and when I graduated out of college. And you'll have to understand, I was very naive. And I just thought people in my work wanted the best for me. And I was unfortunately assaulted quite a bit at work. And I did report it. Somebody had asked that. That started in the year, I think that was I would say about 2002, 2003 is
Yeah.
when it started to come out. And I didn't know what it was. Like, I was just overdoing it. Like, I was working, honestly, I was working, and it was taken advantage of. And you'll have to understand, I look at myself back then as still just a kid because our brains don't fully develop until we're in our mid 20s to late 20s, right? Where they're fully developed around 24, 25 years old.
Yeah.
And so I was quite young when I started and really naive. I had lived in a bubble before that, basically being shuttled from home to school. And it was a private school at the time that I attended. So everything was bubbled, everything was in a
Yeah,
box.
whenever I
I didn't
first
have
met
much.
you, I had no idea you went through any type of, trauma or had any type of history, and you were able to shield it pretty well from anyone really realizing it because you would just come in with just a lot of energy, a lot of spunk, very outgoing, talkative, friendly. I mean, you know what I mean. And then it's just kind of like it's kind of like they say when you put a frog in water and he starts to boil, it just stays there because it doesn't realize the transition. You know what I mean?
That's
It
a
just
great way to put it.
kind of transitioned right before our eyes, and yeah. In
And
regards to
so,
you
well
just,
I want to, oh, go ahead.
I'm just saying in regards to your work, we did have a question. I'm not sure what it stands for. It says 5P. I'm not sure what the 5P stands for, but she
Well,
says, you-
Rod, I was still wanting to address her question of when it started and how it started. So the assault started, I just want to make sure I
yeah,
clarified,
yeah.
it started at work and I did report it. And when
That
I
was the
did
question. That's what I
report
was
it,
getting at. That was the question.
oh, okay, sorry.
Why did you quit why didn't you just quit if that was the case? And that was the question. Your
I
job.
am so sorry. I just didn't want to not acknowledge the
No,
rest of
I
her
know.
question.
It was
Apologies.
it was on the same wavelength. That's why I threw it in there. So
Oh, thank you, Rod. Bless you for that, because I was going off on a different. I just want to make sure that was attended to. So the question, please repeat the question from the individual. And
Uh, well, here's from beginning to end. It was from 5P. You've been through so much and you've come so far. I do have a question. I hope it's
Yes,
not too personal. When you
that's
were
all
being
right.
abused at work, why didn't you just quit your job?
Oh, why didn't I quit? Oh, that's a different question. I thought maybe why I didn't report it, and I did report it. Nothing was done. This was way before the Me Too movement.
Yeah.
This is when you said something, you were punished. And why didn't I quit? Um, I'm going to tell you, just, Rachel's very transparent, and part of my condition is I'm very blunt at times. And that was the reason I didn't quit is because they threatened my family. And they said that they would do harm to my family if I did quit. And that if I did quit, they would also blackball me and not provide me any reference. And they knew I needed medical because at that point, I was starting to fail in as far as physically. My body started to look more emaciated. People started to notice it at work and started making comments. And then it became more of a thing. And I didn't want to bring attention to this. I didn't want any more attention. I wanted the opposite. I wanted less attention about how I looked because how I looked was, I was, I guess people look at it as like a blessing. My mom is beautifully curvaceous and I inherited her body. And that was part why I have such a problem with my body is I'm upset with my body because sometimes I say it betrayed me, but it really didn't. It didn't betray me.
No.
I just didn't recognize the signs, and
Do
I
you
heard it,
do you
and I
feel
let it. I let it keep hurting, and I kept. Even after the abuse stopped, I still did it. I still harmed it, and I'm sorry. I did. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I have to talk to it like it's something else, or I don't feel it properly, and I'm sorry I hurt it, and I'm trying to fix it. But so
how close are you, just curious, to bring this up or not, but how close are you to forgiving yourself?
well, getting the diagnosis has been a bit helpful in why I haven't been able to talk to it. I'm not justifying it. Please don't take this as a justification. It's just help remove some of the shame and blame. And also, people love to tell me how bad I look. Or not that they love it, but they have to comment on it all the time, which is why it's hard for me to come on camera. I would rather hide because I don't want to bother anybody. But I'm sorry that my appearance bothers you. I have to live with it and all the comments. But that's okay. I am very resilient. I'm very resilient. And I will continue to be resilient. And I will smile and put my best foot forward every day,
So,
regardless.
so with learning all this new information of mental health information, are you getting closer to being able to understand why it turned out the way it has and be able to
Yes.
forgive yourself more? Are you
It's it's
on path?
it's yeah, it's helped a lot because I'm like, why do I like hurting myself? What is wrong with me? Why don't I see what other people see or pay attention to those signs? Well, I don't recognize those signs, but now that I'm aware, I can do something. That's all I needed.
I,
I
I,
am so good when I'm aware
yeah, and I had
because I
always
can
thought
hyper focus.
I always thought that the difference is that fork in the road is the forgiving yourself. I think that would be such a huge obstacle to overcome, maybe your biggest, you know?
And also, one of the biggest, and those of you with complex or PTSD, you understand trauma. When you've been traumatized, it's a bit harder to work through. It's not impossible, though. It is possible. We can work through it, and that is why trust is so important. That's why you'll hear me say you're getting blocked by troll, troll, troll. We have to have a safe space, people, to
Yeah.
heal. That's all we're saying. We're trying to heal. Respect the healing process. We're not asking for you to fix us. We don't need more advice. We don't need more people to fix us and tell us we're wrong and we're all sorts of whatever. We know that. Believe me, we know. We're reminded
Yeah,
every day with the flashbacks.
and
And why trust is. Oh, go ahead, Rod. I was just going to
no,
say
finish.
what this thought before I forget it. Why trust is so important to me personally, because you can lose it in a second and it will take years for you to build it back with me, or
Right.
a lot of those with trauma. It will
Sometimes
take you
never.
years or never. You're right. Sometimes that person is just unsafe. And, going through all these, conditions currently, the GI problems, all of that also drop my electrolytes, which makes you very disoriented, very emotional, your heart races, you're short of breath. You're just like, what is on top of having an attention, I'm like, now my electrolytes, I'm like, what was I just talking about? I have no idea. Like, these are moments that I can laugh at, but at the same time, it's scary to not be aware. Now that I'm aware of a problem, I can work on it. And that's what I'm doing. This is firing so much better, minus the electrolyte problem, than I've
You
ever been in my life.
That's the reason
And
why we didn't go last week too, is because your electrolytes were still trying to figure itself out, and you weren't firing on all cylinders, of course, but you seem much more, um,
present.
conscious, present, and
Yeah.
your concentrations there and everything. Thank you for sharing
And
that, Rachel. It's
yeah, and just so you guys know, my electrolyte imbalance wasn't a eating disorder reason. It wasn't that. So let me just put that straight right now. Mine was because my body is not digesting something and we don't know why, and it's running through. Or and you know me, I'm like, my nurses, everybody know Rachael does not like this way. Mm-mm, mm-mm. So I will white knuckle everything. Rod knows, because my body can't do that. I've, ever since I was born, I have had a problem in this domain because I was not born properly or with everything formed, properly of the GI. So that has been a phobia of mine. I'm like,
weren't
stay
you,
down.
if I remember correctly, were you premature?
Well, my body, what my organs were, yeah,
Your organs were. That's what it was.
my organs were not developed yet. So when I came out, I wasn't complete, and then I almost, I wasn't supposed to live. I think that's my ongoing problem. She's not supposed
It's
to live,
always
but
good to
she's
fight the
here,
battle in your own way, right? Um,
right?
we are we're
Fight for
uh,
life.
we are getting ready to come to a close, folks. But I see there are a
Aw.
number of questions and comments we'll go through first. And again,
Thank
thank
you,
you for
Rod, for keeping
sharing.
on point.
Yeah, thank you for sharing all of that. I mean, I got to
Sorry
tell
about
you,
that.
you're one of the most courageous people that I've ever come
No,
across to
no,
reveal everything about yourself. It's honorable. I mean, it's
no.
amazing.
It's the least I can do. It's the least I can do.
This coming Sunday, Rachel, though, Amanda is saying Autism Sunday is this
Oh,
coming,
no way. Are you
incidentally,
kidding
right?
me? Oh my gosh. Okay, we got to make a plan then. We're going to have to be here for Sunday. And it's also the Eating Disorder Awareness Month, but the week is at the end of the month too.
And for the fellas, it is Super Bowl Sunday too, and some ladies, of course.
I was
But
like, why? Let's not
we
be
may have
gender
to do it.
discriminating here.
We may have
Everybody
to do
likes the
it
football.
afterward. Yeah. Oh, there's that Golden Girls movie with Tom Brady that you never know who likes
80
football.
for Brady, Come on. Don't put
Um,
genders in a box.
right. Well, here's this is from Andy once again.
Oh, Andy. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate the prayers. And thank you so much. And thank you for saying you're proud of the progress, because it's progress, not perfection. And you know what a line I learned the other day is, it's process, not perfection. I
Hmm.
was like, ooh, I like that one, because I've heard progress, not perfection. I haven't heard process.
I
And
like.
this is another one. I got to share this with you. This one's really funny. Somebody I know who's a believer, he says, he said this the other day and it cracked me up. So I got to make you guys laugh. He says, I try to be like Jesus about 85% of the time, But that, 15%, and to me, that's still 85%. It's like, I wouldn't even say that number. I'd be like 10, like, even though I'm like that 10% of the time, he's like, he had stated, I'm not climbing up on that cross for nobody. I started
Uh, maybe that's part of the 15%, probably.
right? That's what you're saying.
We
That cracked
also
me
have
up.
a little love, extra love from
Oh,
Sandra.
Sandra, thank you so much, lovely. Oh, you guys are so sweet. Thank you for the support
And
and love.
Lisa chimes in again.
Oh,
She's
Lisa, that's my nurse.
thank
She's my
you.
front liner. We give her grace for anything. She's my sweet angel. Oh,
There you
thank you. Yeah, it's nothing intentionally happened. All I'm trying to do is repair. And it's a process. And my brain wants to do one thing, and I'm like, no, 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 we're going this way. We got to go this way, brain. Come on, brain.
You gotta go
We're
over here.
going to the new way. So it takes time, but I'm getting there. Just we're
More,
better together.
more comments are going to. I think we should start this thing and saying, okay, guys, we're getting ready to wrap up. And then boom, here comes comments. Just
I like that.
saying that like after 2 minutes.
Let's do a couple more.
Marianne, of course.
Of course I know my
Share her
unicorn.
story here.
My unicorn.
If you want
My
to share
sweet
your story.
Marianne, sure, has anorexia for 35 years from 1981 to 2016. And she was only able to forgive herself a few years ago.
Oh,
Finally, she crossed that finish line. Oh my gosh. My Marianne, my unicorn love. It's not easy to forgive yourself at all. And honestly, she had to forgive those that hurt me first before she could forgive herself. And
yes.
that's the
Very
one
important.
person who was the main person that was doing it is deceased. And you have a phobia too of vomiting. See, okay, I'm not weird in that. Thank you for normalizing that. Because not that I'm saying that they're those people are wrong, or I mean not that they're bad people or anything like that. It's just that's not the behavior that I present. I don't present my behaviors that way. We all present, and our pain comes out in different expressions, is what I'm saying. And mine expressed its pain differently. I think that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
My pain expresses itself differently, as Marianne's did. And Marianne can attest to that fact that she's battled through this and only
Yeah.
recently forgived, and the person that was primarily doing it is no longer and is deceased. And even though that I don't feel like I don't think that's comforting or anything, because I feel sad because I overly empathize, I guess, too. And so I have to I haven't I've forgiven him, but I still don't understand how someone could do that to somebody. And I think that's where my brain doesn't get it. And I've kind of come to terms with that fact that I'll never understand it. Maybe I'll never understand why someone will do that. But I just need to be aware it happens, and to make sure that it doesn't happen, and protect myself and others, because I find myself protecting others before I'll do myself. I get very protective. I'm like a lioness
Well,
if I see
fill
that.
your cup because you empty your cup as soon as you have anything in it. So we got to make sure we keep what's in your cup and fill it up, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
A little love out to Miguel. It says it's been a while. I miss
My
Miguel.
Miguel. Oh, where's my letters, Miguel? I miss my letters. Haven't received any letters lately.
And he
And
also
just so you guys know, oh, you have autism.
hmm,
Well, I'm a proud member. I have a few more appointments to go for a full diagnosis, but the ADHD, which we already knew about, that's been like my whole life,
okay. And
unfortunately.
Linda
But
wanted to share something real quick here.
oh, my sweet Linda, I know Linda. Oh, yeah, you have a very severe vomiting phobia and can barely eat. Oh, you're very sensitive to smells and foods. Oh, make you nauseous. Oh, yes, it's so hard. If something smells, I can't eat. You just feel sick. It's hard to push. And Rod, just so you know, Rod, will you share that you got nauseous the other day? And what happened to you? And I was like,
I
welcome to my world.
Yeah, it felt like I don't know what I ate. Maybe I had something wrong, or I'm not sure exactly what it was. And I like next to never have any signs of nausea whatsoever. I feel guilty about that because you experience it on a daily basis. So when I got it, I go, oh, I was like this because I don't like getting injured or nausea or any of that stuff. I'm like as I'm fighting as hard as I can just to keep myself afloat. You know what I mean? Because yeah, I can't be a good caregiver for yourself
No,
if I'm nauseous,
no,
I have to give for myself, you know. But that's
right.
why self care, folks, on a Sunday and any day of the week is very important. But yeah, I had the nausea, and if it's a fraction of what you're going through, I can only imagine. You know what I mean? So yeah, hats off to you for muscling through it. I tell you that.
There's
Um,
something about empathy, right? Oh,
love you too.
Marianne, I love you, my Marianne, always and forever. And don't get me wrong, Rod's a little bit of a wuss with pain. Just
Yeah.
kidding.
No,
Ah, just kidding. No, he. You have to understand. He is the most nurturing, reliable, best friend anybody could have. Anybody could have. And we've been together like 19 years or something.
I know,
And
right?
I was telling my nurse, I go, I still like him. I mean, she goes, that's an interesting way to put it. I mean, you love the person, but I still like him. That's what's amazing. He's still interesting. He's still phenomenal. He still gives me the warm fuzzies and just excites me. I love being around him. It's amazing to have your partner as your best friend. Not that we're perfect, no, not even close. We have our tiffs, right? It's not all sunshine and you know rainbows and unicorns all the time, right? We have our downsides, but we work together. The thing is he knows I cannot stand lies, not even a little white lie. Uh-uh. Just be honest. That's my thing. Just be honest with me. We'll move through it. It's all good.
There you
And
go.
I love that about him.
I,
He's
I
so
want to tell
charming.
you a news flash, but I like you too. So
Oh,
and I like your little headset. I like it's a no. You're an amazing person, Rachel. It's an honor to be a part of this situation and this broadcast, and seeing how many comments are coming through and how relatable. Um, with everything you have going on, it just dawned on me yesterday. I was like, wow, you have people out there have I would never throw a just in front of any of this, right? But that have PTSD, that are on the spectrum, that have an eating disorder, that have all these different things that are going on. But
layers.
you have
Yeah.
a you have a big sandwich going on with all these issues. No pun.
I like that.
Uh,
I like no, keep the pun. I like the pun.
yeah,
Pun it.
you have a big sandwich, so it's a lot to eat through and digest, of course. But yeah, hats off to you. Um,
Oh,
there
thank
are
you, love.
there are other comments here. We're gonna just answer just a couple more, then we're gonna skedaddle because Yandor over here.
Because I no no no. Because why? I want to eat.
She
That's
wants
why.
to
Because
eat.
I told him earlier, let's do this because I'm gonna eat.
Yeah,
Was it like a?
it
Oh,
was like
Linda.
a man cold. It was a man cold.
It was totally a man cold. Like, meh. And us. I'm gonna have to say something about us ladies. We are strong. We are resilient. So are the men. And I'm not saying they're not, but I'm telling you, our ability to handle a lot is it needs to be noted. I'll just say so to my ladies out there as well, and the men.
Yeah, once there's even a flicker of fire going on with myself, I'm trying to find out how to put it out. So, but just to talk real quick before we let everyone go, you had some information on sleeping. You were calling it sleep
Sleep
hygiene.
hygiene, yeah. But can I just say one other thing about Rod? Is that I just want you guys to know how important it is for caregivers to self-care too. I just before we move to the sleep hygiene and then we'll finish is that I make it a point to and sometimes we need someone to remind us like oh by the way Rachel you didn't eat this or something or I'll tell Rod we need you to self-care today and make sure that you get your painting
Oh,
in
so
or your
compassion fatigue, right? I can tell you
yes
that.
yes
I was just going to mention.
burnout.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was just going to mention, I'll put it in the comments after we're done, but there's
Okay.
some information about sleep hygiene and how you can go about getting better sleep because,
Yes.
we,
Okay. Do you have that with you?
I don't have it in the queue. I was saying after we're done, I'll put it
This
in the
we
comments
have
so you guys can look at it.
15 steps to sleep hygiene. They're like 15 tips, and they were super cool. I was like, I didn't even think of that. And what it basically is, I'll just sum it up real quick and we'll post it below. You need to get regular, train your body, sleep when sleepy, get up and try again. So if you haven't been able to sleep after about 20 minutes, get up, do something calming or boring until you're sleepy. Avoid caffeine and nicotine, right? Avoid alcohol. And the other thing, bed is for sleeping. So try not to use your bed other than, and I don't need to go on the dirty end, so we'll leave it right there. And the other thing is no naps if you have insomnia and you have a problem with that. Rod does not have that problem. Homeboy, like he's just
Oh, I
like
can
sitting
sleep.
there and then like
Give me time. I'll sleep.
nods off. I'm like, oh, I'm so jealous of people who
I
can take naps.
I take a little nap after I
And
eat. I don't know if anyone else has to do that. So give me like 10 minutes at least right after
oh,
you eat.
when I eat, I get tired too because all the blood rushes to my belly. So I get really tired after a big meal too. But I'm not sleepy. That's the thing. Note it. You want to know the difference between fatigue and sleepy. There's a difference. So the other thing is develop a sleep ritual. I liked that because I don't have a sleep ritual. So I'm going to develop a sleep ritual. Bath time. Dang it, dang it, dang it. Bath time.
What do you?
No clock watching.
Yeah.
And then there's just a few more. Use a sleep diary. Hmm? I don't see myself really doing that, but we can put it on there. But no, that one, the one I got was
I'll
the
log in like what time you went to sleep the day
yeah.
before.
Actually, you know what? I will do that. That I could just do like a little number. You're right. I should do that. I could do that. Let's make it fit, right? Exercise, eat right, have the right space. It's very important your bed and bedroom are quiet and comfortable. A cooler room, and this is what we've been doing because it's helped. Honestly, it's helped me to sleep deeper. But I have insomnia, and so I wake up a lot, can't sleep. But having a cool room, a cold room, and warm blankets to stay warm helps you sleep, and it has helped me. And keep daytime routine the same. I don't think I have a problem there. OCD problem. I don't have a problem there. The other thing that they didn't put on here that we've been doing lately, do you
Uh-huh.
remember, Rod?
Yeah,
You say it.
I was
I
gonna
talk
add
enough.
I was gonna
I
add
talk
it if
enough.
you were done because I haven't heard it yet. But
Do
uh,
it.
little guy Toby, whenever I edit this later, I'm gonna throw a little B-roll of Toby. You can probably see it on your screen if you're watching a replay. We've been putting him by the feet of our bed, and he is just like he makes you sleep a little deeper for some reason. I put my feet on him, and he just loves it. But yeah, thank you for sharing that, Rachel. Well, folks,
Okay, wait. Before we end, we're going to make sure that all the resources are below. CBT for insomnia, that blew my mind, and the ISR thing, we're going to put that as well, and also the sleep hygiene. So share your resources, and your call to action is this. Pick one thing that you use this week for sleep hygiene. Or if you have one already that you do, could you put it down below so that way we can share the resources? Because this is what it's about. We're just sharing our resources to support each other. Okay? So if you guys can help me with that, and I'll make sure that I show up for Autism SuNDaY, right? I love it.
I'll get back to all the comments I didn't quite get to, but whenever we're done, but I do kind of get some food together for Rachel, and we got to eat.
Yes.
But I'll get
I'm starting to digest a bit better. So I'm starting to feel a little bit better.
Is it
And
because the cooking is spectacular? Is that why?
yeah, that's what it is.
A little bit.
Just kidding. No, it's just like getting these things resolved, hopefully by the GI doctor, And then finally, I'll have my appointments this week. I have another appointment with the psychiatrist for another diagnostic testing. And I'll tell you guys, getting an appointment with a psychiatrist is bananas if you want. Like, some of these specialists are so hard to get a hold of, and they book out so far in advance. So if you need to see a doctor for anything, please do so. So that's a part of self-care too. And I started talking to I've been dealing with the medical now, calling them, putting on my big girl pants, let's just say, and doing it myself. Instead of, Rod, can you do this? Because Rachel doesn't want to be on the phone. I don't like being on the phone. It bothers me. I have a thing with the phone. I don't like being on it. I'm more of a message person. I don't want to get on. So Rachel's putting on her big girl pants and doing it herself, whether she likes it or not.
Yes.
And being nice.
Your snuggy pants. All right, guys. Until next time, I'm not sure which Sunday it will be. Maybe it's this coming Sunday.
I'm going to represent for Amanda.
All right, guys. Love you guys. Take care of yourselves.
Poop unicorns, crap rainbows. And flip it.
Do that too.
Nice. Love you guys.
Take care.